Today we're going to be talking about how to start running in 2025. My name's Sunny. I'm a third year medical student and I started running at the beginning of 2024 and it's been a year since then, and honestly it's been one of the best things that I've started, and I can tell that I'm going to be doing it for such a long time. But I too am still a beginner, and back in January when I started there were so many questions that I had, so many things that I didn't know about, and that's why I felt this video needs to be made. I'm going to give you a beginner's guide to running. I hope you guys can stick to it. I've made a presentation to show you guys exactly how you're going to start running in 2025. Why should you start running in 2025? So obviously we know about the physical benefits of cardiovascular exercise as well as the mental health benefits and just improving overall fitness. But guys, when I say the boost in mood that you get from running is actually like comparable to other forms of exercise, I don't know what it is, but after you run, you just feel lighter. That day, go run. If you're having a great day, go run. Running can precede any mood that you're feeling, and it will just make you feel better at the end of it as well. And secondly, the achievement of running. Guys, nobody runs. Like, I know we see on social media that people run, but if you look in the general population, like, nobody runs. Like, for you to go out there and actually run is an achievement in itself. I don't care if you're running for 5 minutes. I don't care if you're running for 10 seconds, or maybe 10 seconds is a bit too little. Or I don't care if you're just running 2 kilometers. The fact that you're out there is great. And you can run alone, you can run with people, you can run races, you can run in the morning, you can run in the evening. It's honestly so sick. You just should run. You should run. So if you're thinking of starting running, definitely do it. Which I will say though, is when you start running as a beginner, it can be very difficult because you'll see all of these other people who have been running for longer than you. Maybe they haven't been running for longer than you, but their sports context in what they've done is just different. And so this can cause you to have a bit more comparison. And comparison isn't good, especially in a sport like running where so many people come from different backgrounds and we're all starting at different points and we'll all progress at different speeds. And so all I'd say is be careful of comparison, because like the pencils say here, oh, the coloring pencil wants to be sharper, but then the writing pencil wants to be colorful. But they're different. They're meant for different things. They're just designed differently. They've all got their purpose and they're not meant to do what the other one does. And that's okay. You just need to know that. And yeah, Strava and just social media in general is a place where a lot of people can get bogged down on, oh, I'm not running fast enough, I'm not running far enough. But I don't want that to happen to you. So just keep that in mind. Even if you have Strava and you don't want people judging you, you feel like you're going to be judged. I have a friend who told me that, yeah, he runs, but all of his runs are uploaded privately and just hidden from everyone else. So no one sees when he runs, no one sees how much he runs. And he says that really helps him kind of detach from the social side of running in terms of comparison. But me, I post everything. I post my paces, even though they're comparatively slow to the people in my age group. I don't care. I'm out there. I'm still running. I'm still making progress. And that's what matters really and truly. But yeah, add me on Strava, Sunny10A. And yeah, avoid comparisons and acknowledge that when you start running, you are just ultimately more at risk to getting injured, because this is a physical sport, and that if you run enough, you probably will end up picking an injury. It's not if, it's when, and you just need to be mentally prepared for that. And it's progress if you actually run, and you can't run if you're injured. So running at a lower intensity is actually smarter because you can build more volume and you can progress because you get better at the things you do more. And if you do more running, that means you're not injured, you know? Let's continue down our path. Okay, so like I was saying, how to make the most progress. Run weekly, run slowly. There's this idea of running to a 80-20 split. This is when you run 80% of your runs easy. Now, easy running we'll explain later, but it's basically when you run slowly and it's not effortful. Like, easy running should feel like a 4 out of 10 on intensity, like break a sweat. But the first 10 minutes of easy running should be completely fine. It's about enthusiasm and motivation. is also about smart training, recovery, and consistency. You need to be getting your sleep, you need to be foam rolling, stretching, and having rest days, because this is going to be you if you don't listen to what I'm saying. Your intensity or volume will peak right at the beginning, and either you'll lose motivation or you'll get injured, and then you won't run anymore, and then the amount that you'll run will just decrease and decrease, and then you won't even see much progress as you could have made. But if you just go slowly, look at the area underneath the curve is so much bigger. That's how much more volume that you will accrue and how much better you'll be at running if you take it slowly. I definitely fell into this trap as well. For the first 3 months, I was really good at keeping it slow, keeping it consistent. But then I started training for my half marathon, and that kind of derailed my constant steady progress, and I got injured, and that was no fun at all. But yeah, if you want to progress, and if you want to make the most progress, run weekly, run slowly, and recover. Okay, how often should you run? So I think for beginners who have no sports background, or at least no sports background immediately, so like for the last time that you were active, not even going to the gym, but like playing a sport where you're on your feet, running left, right, football, netball, rugby, all of the above, don't have that, 2 times a week is good. I would say run once on the weekend, run once midweek, just so your body has enough time to recover. If you do have a sports background, say within the past year or 2 years, you've been playing the sports I listed before, I'd go to 3 times a week. Your body could probably handle that because you've built the kind of pounding tolerance to being on your feet, changing direction, etc. And I still think for the first around 12 weeks, you should just be doing easy runs. Always listen to your body to avoid overtraining. So if you feel an ache, don't go running that next day. Do some recovery work, do the foam rolling, do the stretching, and then hopefully you'll feel better the next day, and then you can go running. One thing that I realized is it's not normal for your muscles to be tight all the time. And if they are, that means they're in the process of recovering. So you need to let your muscles finish recovering before you go and use them again. That's a minute. Walk runs even. Definitely walk runs. That's another thing. I walk in every single one of my runs. There is no pressure to run 100% of the time which you run. When they start out running, they want to run hard because they think, oh, if I'm getting a good workout in, if I'm sweating, if I'm going balls to the wall, then I'm going to make progress because I'm trying really hard. But that's just not how running works. You don't get faster and you don't get more durable in running by running max effort 5Ks every week. There are multiple energy systems and they all need to be trained differently. Running on a weekly basis is very different to a one max effort race. You need to train that way. One of the best ways to increase your performance in running is easy running. It sounds counterintuitive because it's too easy, but honestly, it's amazing. I ran easy for 3 months and I took my 5K from 28 minutes to 24 minutes in 3 months just by running easy, and it's running too fast. Be a pace which you can breathe entirely through your nose. But you're definitely building endurance. And what's that? Not being worked so hard that they're breaking down, which is great, but they're being worked hard enough so physiologically they realize, oh, these muscles are being used. We need to increase the efficiency of these muscles. And what happens? Your body makes more mitochondria. And we all know the mitochondria are the powerhouse of the cell, and you need them to produce energy whilst you exercise. And this is great. To train the aerobic system, you need to train as much as possible aerobically. And yes, even a 5K, even though it feels hard, is still majority aerobic. What's more aerobic than running an all-out 5K? Running a really slow 5K. And the metric of breathing through your nose is great because either you can or you can't breathe through your nose whilst you're running. Whereas a lot of people say is running at conversational pace. I don't know, maybe you've got a big mouth, maybe you can talk at at any speed that you run at. Effective, you know? And I think hard line, like when you breathe through your nose, that's zone 2, or that's easy running. I think that's a great way to look at it, and it just keeps you more honest. So yeah, motion mark, don't run too fast. Okay. how long should you run? On your background, what you're training for, if you're training at all, if you're building base. But as you're a beginner, I think you should spend, like I said before, the first 3 months just building a solid base, just a base fitness. And so I think how long you should run should be based on time rather than distance as well. Distance doesn't matter to us. Our body doesn't understand distance. Our body understands time under tension. How long have I been put to work? That's what your body understands. And so I think you should focus on progressing the time that you run whilst running easy. When you run for time, it different pace as much because it then makes you kind of less comparable to other people in a way. To other people. For example, if my friend says he ran 5 kilometers yesterday morning and then I go and run 5 kilometers today, in the back of my mind I might be thinking, oh, they ran it in 25 minutes. I need to try run it in 25 minutes as well. But you shouldn't be thinking like that. You should just be thinking, I need to go have a good run, keep it easy, keep it at my level, because you and your friend aren't at the same level, you know? And so you can definitely progress the time at which you run. And over time, you'll see you ran in 20 minutes today will be distance that you ran maybe months. Or get stuck on pace, and I don't want that to be you, because really and truly pace doesn't matter. Pace isn't going to be the thing that makes you a better runner. It's going to be time under tension. The amount of time that you spend running is what's going to make you a better runner. And so honestly, running is just trying to stay away from injury and trying to be able to run as much as possible. And another way which you can maximize or which you can minimize the chance of you getting injured is by warming up. You run dynamic warm up and you need some stretches. Now this can be anything like jumping jacks, this can be anything like leg swings, heel kickers. Make sure that your lower body is mobile before you start your run, and yeah, that will just make it a more enjoyable process for sure. Another thing I'll highlight is the focus on form. Focus on form should definitely be there because, again, this increases efficiency, so you'll be able to run for longer, faster, and you'll also prevent injuries. There are a few things that a lot of people do wrong whilst they run, which lead to injuries and they don't even know. So I want to make you aware of that now so that you can have a look at the way you run now and then be able to fix that. And hopefully that will make your journey with running a lot more enjoyable. So one thing is posture. You want to be upright, you want to be relaxed, you want your shoulders to be back, you know? You don't want to be hunched forward. No. You want to feel like there's a string pulling you up nice and tall. That's for posture. Next is foot striking. You want to avoid stepping too far forward. When your strides are too big, you then land on your heel. And then biomechanically, this isn't right for the body. This is an ineffective, inefficient way to strike when running. And this will slow you down and this will cause you knee pain. And you don't want that. So you want to be striking in the midfoot onto your toes, and then have a look on YouTube for videos about foot strike and things like that, because it's definitely something that's important. Help your foot strike is having a higher cadence. This is the amount of steps that you take in a minute whilst running. And the reason having a high cadence is good is because it makes your steps shorter, minimizing the chance of you overstriding, and makes it more likely for your foot to be landing directly underneath your body whilst you run. And this mid-foot strike even easier to attain. Yeah, last few points just on leaning forwards from your ankles. This will kind of help you with that propulsion, just moving forward normally. And then the arm swings, keep your arms bent about 90 degrees, and then, you know, just keep them relaxed and pump them. I don't know, whenever I watch like Olympic runners run, I'm always just kind of in awe, just looking at like, wow, their form looks so good. Obviously, I look nothing like this when I run, but I'd love to, and hopefully one day I will. Running form. And with that running form endorsement, then another thing you really need to focus on when you start building up your mileage and you start running more is strength and conditioning for running. Because a super repetitive, and so if you've got any weaknesses or imbalances from your left foot to your right foot in your hips, in the muscles in your legs, they will get exposed because they'll get magnified. Sure, it doesn't matter if there's a 5% difference between your left leg your left quad and your right quad muscle when you take one step, when you're climbing stairs. But when you're doing 5,000 step runs and your left leg gets fatigued way before your right leg does, and then your form breaks down, that's when that 5% difference actually is a very big difference. And the way to combat that is through strength and conditioning. So injury prevention, like I said, and just improves your performance because you can hold that good running form for longer. So it makes your running more efficient, so it spends less energy to actually run. Areas of focus: running is a single leg exercise. Even though you run with both your feet, it's only one foot that hits the floor at a time. And so you need to build that single leg strength. And as well as that, you need to build your core strength, your hip stability, your lower leg strength, and your mobility. When I say lower leg strength, I mean your calf, your anterior tibialis muscle, your posterior tibialis muscle, your peroneal muscles, and those are in your lower leg, and they contribute tremendously to foot stability and ankle stability. And so it would honestly be doing yourself a disservice to be going to the gym, working everything out, but those areas which definitely get missed out on when we go to the gym. And yeah, another whole video could be made on strength and conditioning for running. But yeah, definitely look into it. Or if you want me to make a video, drop a comment down below. It can be done. And should you enter a race? And my answer is yes. You should definitely enter a race. But don't make the mistake of entering a race which is too big. Because I think something that's not talked about enough is the fact that race and just building a base, which I think new runners should definitely do, are two completely different things. And this wasn't highlighted to me when I jumped into my half marathon training, and the percentage of runs which I was doing which were hard weren't at all like evenly split between hard and easy. And then yeah, that just led to overtraining and injury. But I think races are so fun. The half marathon that I ran was honestly an experience that I've never had before, and I'd love to do it again. It was honestly electric. And running around that many people, it was actually, I don't know how else to describe it. More park runs as well, which I think is a great place for people to start. Park runs can be really nice in summer, not so nice in winter, but yeah, and getting a medal at the end of the race is also just a really nice memento. Makes you feel like you've cleared like a Pokemon gym or something, because all the medals are different, so they feel like badges. Sign up for a race, make sure you've had 3 to 4 months of base building where you've ran easy, you've built up your kilometers per week, and then enter your race. I don't think you should be jumping into a half marathon or a 10K, and particularly not a marathon. I really don't know how people get into running through running a marathon. Personally, I don't think training for a marathon is actually that fun. You have to run so much to build the fitness to run a marathon. But hey, each to their own. But yeah, definitely race. Racing is so good, so enjoyable. Do you need running gear? Now, if you want to buy it, I definitely say buy it. But if you don't want to buy it, I don't think you need to. But there are a few things which I would suggest investing in. I would suggest investing in a good pair of running shoes. You can go to your local running shop and help them pick a shoe which fits you. Because running shoes all vary a lot actually, which makes a lot of sense because everyone has different feet. But it's really not something you think about, or not something I thought about when I was buying my first pair of running shoes. I literally bought them off Vinted for a tenner. Luckily, they fit really good, and I actually ran my half marathon in them, and I ran it pretty well. So yeah, definitely get a good pair of running shoes. But apart from that, you've got a phone, you can track your runs on that. You've easy running monitor on your face already, which is calm. I think that would be really good. is some type of heart rate monitor. I quite like heart rate based training, which is another whole topic in itself. But yeah, it's just another way of monitoring your training through heart rate zones. But apart from that, no. I think shoes is a must. You've already got a phone, and then just clothes that you like to wear in. You don't need all this fancy gear, although it's cool. If you want it, definitely get it. I've got a pair of sunglasses that I wear, that I wore during summer, and I've got a heart rate monitor. I've got an Apple Watch, but they're not essentials. Running is actually quite a low barrier to entry sport, which I think is really good, which I really encourage you to start doing. So yeah, definitely. And lastly, how can we make running easier? See, I think running is fun, but what makes running even better, or what makes it easier on the hard days, is running with others. I don't think I've ever had a bad run with someone else. And I've ran with quite a few people multiple times in different occasions, and it's always just a good time. I don't know what it is, but running with people is up there with one of the best ways that you can actually get more kilometers in. So join a run club if there's one near you. That's definitely something I want to do in 2025. Is I want to join a run club. I want to run with others consistently and make friends through running. Another thing you can do if you're running solo is running with music, running with a podcast. You see Modern Wisdom there. Chris Williamson is like, we have a parasocial relationship going on. He's just my bro. And then I listen to a lot of MMA podcasts and YouTube videos whilst I run, just very entertaining, and music as well. And also, when I was training for my half marathon, I'd have long runs on Sundays, and long runs were honestly a whole mental battle in themselves. I'd run sometimes for an hour and a half. I think this was the longest long run I did before my half marathon, and yeah, it was tough. My legs were shattered at the end of it, but something that always kept me going on those long runs was thinking, at the end of it, I'm going to reward myself with a pastry. And I'd always make my way to Greggs or Sainsbury's, and I'd pick up some chocolate twists. And yeah, just thinking about it now, honestly. So if you associate running with a reward at the end of it, like a pastry, if you really like pastries like me, I don't know, it just makes going out running just that much bit easier, because at the end of it, I'm going to reward myself for doing this hard thing. And yeah, that's always good. It doesn't have to be through food. It could be an activity. Hopefully it's not shopping, because then you'll just be buying stuff all the time. But whatever works for you, whatever gets you out there. Guys, everything that we've talked about today, definitely get into running. Definitely get into running. If you want to run and you want to make progress, run weekly, run slowly, make sure you recover. How much you should run? If you're a complete beginner to sport, just run twice a week, probably 10, 20-minute walk runs even. Definitely walk runs. That's another thing. I walk in every single one of my runs. There is no pressure to run 100% of the time which you run. In running, leave your ego at the door, because honestly, it does not matter. No one is actually bothered about how fast you're running. Walk running is something I do all the time. Whenever I get to a hill, I will walk up a hill. Whenever I get tired, I will walk. Walking should be shameless. You should incorporate walking into your running. There's no reason not to. There's honestly no reason not to. But yeah, back to the recap. How often should you run? If you're a complete beginner, two runs a week will do you great. That's all you need. You'll make great progress with that for a long time. If you've been running 3 times a week, that's all you need. For this whole next year, I've been running consistently for about 9 months. I'm currently a bit injured, so I'm not running as much as I'd like to be. But even when I'm back to full fitness, for this next year, I'm only running 3 times a week, because I just don't need to run more, and I'll just be exposing myself to more injuries. Always listen to your body. Make sure when you're running easy, use your nose. How long you should run, base it on time, not on distance. Always warm up. Focus on your form. Relaxed, upright, mid-foot strike, high cadence, relaxed arms. Strength and conditioning work, single leg lunges, single leg squats, split squats, single leg presses, anything like that. Hip stability, lower leg strength and mobility. Should you enter a race? Hell yes, enter a race. Do you need running gear? Only gear you really need are good, reliable shoes. Apart from that, you've got a phone, you've got AirPods, or you've got headphones. Use those. You don't need anything else. So don't let that be the reason you don't run. And then yeah, make it fun, make it satisfying. Listen to music, run with other people, listen to podcasts, get yourself a chocolate twist or a croissant at the end of your run. And yeah, want to see more running content? Start running in 2025. Thank you very much. In the comments, what are your goals for 2025? And in the next video.